freedom, safety, and healing is what I feel like we need in our life every day. And when we don't have it, then what happens is our body is breaking down and sabotaging ourselves because we keep hearing those limiting beliefs that we have, and it slows everything down. And how do we keep moving forward and keep having these great big breakthroughs in ways that we can see that we want an incredible life where we feel like that we're in love, we feel that we're nurtured, we feel that we can do that for others, we feel that life is at ease and in flow. But good morning. Share anything you want as you're coming through. We're talking about Truth Friday here. And let me finish this part, that if we can keep seeing there's a bigger picture of truth in our freedom, safety, and healing, where could that take us? So my question for you is, if you felt this vibe of freedom in your life, where would that take you? Where would you want to, what would you like to accomplish? What are your bigger goals? What are the ones that you think, those goals that you think are so big that you're like, I wish I could have that, but I can't. Those are the ones I want you to claim today. So anybody out there got a big goal, and just shout it out saying, this is what I want to do. I know as I'm looking, I know that one of my biggest goals is that I become part of a collective group. And I started it with calling it #Speaker Locking Arms. And that if we open our voice to stop the shaming and blaming within ourselves, and then also with others out there, to really open our voice to be able to share love to people, appreciation, and not feeling like we have to fight with what's happening out there in the system. It's so nice to see you this morning. Thank you for coming in. If we get out of our way and we stop sabotaging ourselves, everything would look different. Because we'd be able to see the chaos out there, events that are happening in our life that don't really work. But it's happening. And we're like, I wish it wasn't happening. But inside, you can calm that down. And you can say, all right, this is a hard time, but this is what life is. I need to manage that and discover for myself how I can get through this. I want to breathe in, lean in, so that life is in reality. That I don't just leave life and try and act like this if nothing is wrong. But you know, when you really want something, you want change, and you see all this chaos going on, and you're like, what? And it just totally drops you, and you think that this is the way life is, and that you don't deserve what you're really envisioning. But if you're really envisioning it, why do you think that you can't have that? I mean, if you look at all the steps, you go, okay, that's too much. But what if you just let that go, and you start really listening to yourself, and you make those bigger steps just by listening to yourself? Not by thinking step by step by step how hard that's going to be, where you are now. And I'll tell you a story. So Fresh Talks Global Vision, we've been running a show, and it's been going on consistently about 8 years, just different names. We come in and we bring experts in, and we have a spin-off, which I call the Rondaloo Moxie Show, and that's where I speak about empowerment and, feeling, spiritual and feel it in your biggest tenacity space that you can. And I love having conversation with people. So we were releasing videos maybe a couple times out of the week. It's going to be a big one because I can't believe that I just fell apart when this stuff started happening. So think about a story in your life that's really, you're thinking you're nailing it, and then all of a sudden something good comes along, and it just totally freaks you out and it makes you digress because it feels so overwhelming. So we were in this, we were doing like Truth Friday, and we were doing interviews and stuff like that. And so I'd say I got an average, maybe 2 videos average a week were being released, like on YouTube, here, TikTok, and sometimes it was daily. So when my time was to start using a software that created more shorts, more video than I've ever done before. Something happened to me because the exposure of what I was doing was bigger than what I was used to. So I was only releasing a couple videos on an average per week. Then all of a sudden, I'm releasing maybe 10 to 15 videos a week. And I literally had like a panic attack because I was afraid of that next level of being seen. And I already thought that I was nailing it because within my small capacity, I was thinking about, oh, we're doing good stuff, we're getting out there, all that kind of stuff. And all the content is really good. But then this good content got more out there, and I literally walked away from my computer and just freaked out. So I was so used to having control over exactly what I was going to type, exactly how the video was, and it totally changed my life because it became easier to put videos out, and easier for me to not have to think, what are the hashtags and all that detail. So all of a sudden I'm out there more with the people I'm interviewing, more with what I'm doing. So I walked away from my desk and I literally could not breathe. I was like, and I knew what was happening because it's pretty odd when something good goes on. Why are we not always happy? And my issue was the exposure that I was getting. So anybody have a story around that? Maybe something about something bigger that happened for you, and you realized how silly you were being, but you still couldn't stop it from being scared. And now I see that happening, and it just took my business and what I was doing at a different level. It helped change the way I show up in my personal relationships, in my business, in my connection with money. And that I really started recognizing, like, everything that I was doing, that I was very proud of myself. And I already kind of knew that I was proud of myself. Because like we start something from scratch and you're building and building, or you're doing something and you notice you're doing better and better. Well, that's what was happening. But a big whoosh just happened, and all of a sudden everything was bigger, and I didn't know how to manage that. And it was an eye-opener because I was like, I've been stopping myself from growing. And why wasn't I happy? I wanted things to be easier. So think about that. What is it, if you could get comfortable with growing bigger and doing what you do, how would that change everything in your life? What would it change? And how would that affect what affects you in this world? For me, my voice was shut down. There were many times as I was growing up that I'd literally, be made fun of, and I just know how to speak, so I'd start pouting, hoping that everything would change. Just if I pouted, like it would just change somebody's perspective on me, but instead it did the opposite, and people were feeling like they were irritated with me because I would just shut down and they didn't know how to manage that. I didn't even know how to manage it. It was terrible. So anything in this for you that you feel that you could get something from? Because I want you to think about what your bigger vision is. Our global vision, is what I said, is to open up the voice and get everything going and moving forward, to stop the blaming and the shaming, to partner with others so that we can build it bigger and bigger and bigger. Everybody's starting to use the hashtag Speaker Locking Arms. And we tell people how great it is to open your voice, especially when you come from the heart, because you can say anything because it's all in flow and love. And usually there's no jagged stuff in there to hurt you. Not being like telling the truth. And you go, well, I was just telling the truth. But I mean, it's really through the head, and you get kind of rough with somebody, but it's more from the heart where you're like, you really can't say anything wrong because everything you're saying is through love. And it's easier to say because now you're not stopping yourself from saying these things that you know are real important. It could be important that who you're talking to, or it can be important to you. and you feeling like you need to hear it. You need to hear these words that are coming out. So this is Truth Friday. Hashtag Truth Friday. Hashtag Speaker Locking Arms. Let's keep the flow going. Let's keep our connection and the beauty of what we're doing. Keep opening your voice. Show up as the truer you. The more that you keep learning about yourself every day, the stronger you will be and stand and hold in your purpose. Love you. Namaste. Mwah.